Hi everyone, I'm Shannon Schroeder, F-Bomb coach. I help ADHD women build sustainable systems for their business to calm some of the chaos that they live with. Today we're going to talk about resolutions. And if you've been around me for any length of time, you know that I really don't like resolutions. And the reason is this. Every January, millions of people write the same promises in fresh, clean, beautiful notebooks, and they swear that this year will finally be different. And by February, you feel like a failure. And today we're going to talk about how to skip that guilt cycle, build real change without resolutions, and create a system that actually fits your life, not your fantasy of what you wish your life would look like. Today, you're joining the anti-resolution revolution. Instead of chasing perfect goals one time a year, you're going to learn how to build tiny, honest, flexible habits that last all year. So first, let's talk about why resolutions are a trap. Remember that shiny notebook I just mentioned, right? You get a new one, it's all clean, it's pristine, you get a special pen, you write new year, new me, and then you write down 10 big, giant goals. And for the first few days, you feel amazing. You're on fire. You're doing all the things. And then life happens. Work gets busy, you get tired, you miss a day, then three, then a week. And then you're hit with that emotional crash. You go from, I'm going to change my whole life to, what is wrong with me? The problem isn't you, it's the setup. Resolutions are typically these huge things that are vague and loaded with pressure. Things like, I'm going to get in the best shape of my life. I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. every day. I'm going to read 50 books. I'm never going to touch sugar again. These sound amazing, right? If you can actually follow through, they might be amazing. But they're fragile because there's no plan, there's no system in place to make them happen. You have one bad week, and then you feel like you've ruined your entire year. The anti-resolution revolution is about getting rid of that all or nothing thinking. You're not waiting for a specific date on the calendar, and you're not going to pretend that you're going to be a different person overnight. Instead, you're going to match your habits with your real life and your real energy. So why do resolutions fail? I talked a little bit about this already, right? Number one, resolutions are built on fantasy, not data. Most people set goals for the person they wish they were, not the person they are today. You ignore your actual schedule, your energy levels, your stress, your responsibilities. You build a goal for the perfect you who never gets tired or distracted, and then you blame the real you when it doesn't work. Number two, resolutions are usually too big and too vague. Get healthy isn't a plan. Be more organized isn't a plan. Fix my life, definitely not a plan. Your brain needs clear actions, not big wishes. If you can't tell yourself, what exactly do I do today? The goal's not ready for you. Number three, all or nothing mindset will kill your progress. Because resolutions often sound like, I'll work out every single day. I'll never scroll at night again. The first time you miss a day, your brain is nagging at you. See, I told you, you can't stick with anything. You can't do this. So instead of doing a little bit, you just give up and then you feel bad. You're ashamed because you couldn't stick with it. Progress dies because you tie your worth to being perfect. And number four, the calendar trick. People act like January 1st has some kind of magical powers. In reality, it's just a date. If your system only works when the new year starts, it's not really a system. Real change works on a random Tuesday in March. If anything I'm saying to you feels like I'm calling you out, hopefully in a good way, hit the like button so that other people can also see that they're not alone in this. Now we're going to talk about the core shift that you have to make as part of being anti-resolution. You stop trying to become a whole new person overnight. You need to start acting like a person who improves in small ways all year long. You learn to judge your success by consistency over months, not by a perfect streak. So it's not about, I got to do it every day. Yes, that is one way to be consistent, but showing up routinely is also consistency. If you miss a day, that's okay. You're still making improvements. So how do we do this? First, we have some core ideas that you need to buy into. Okay. Number one, tiny, non-dramatic habits. Trade those giant goals for small actions that look almost too easy. So instead of work out 6 days a week, say, I'll do 10 squats after brushing my teeth. Instead of read 50 books, read one page before you check your phone in the morning. Instead of no sugar at all, maybe you start with no pop on the weekends. Make the habit so light that the real you can do it on a bad day, when you're tired, when you have a hard time getting out of bed. The habit needs to be able to be accessible and doable on those days. Core idea number two, flexible rules instead of strict routines. Resolutions tend to sound like laws. Anti-resolution is more like guidelines. On weekdays, I move my body for at least 5 minutes. On work days, I write for 10 minutes before I open social media. On Sundays, I plan my top 3 tasks for the week. You're building guardrails for your life, for your habits, not a prison that you're stuck in. And core idea number three, identity-based change, not outcome-based pressure. Instead of just asking, what do I want to achieve? You start asking, who do I want to become? I want to be someone who keeps promises to myself. I want to be the kind of person who moves every day. Do you see how that's different? Instead of saying, I'm going to work out every day, I want to be the kind of person who moves every day. I want to be a calm planner, not a last minute firefighter. When you're changing who you want to be, then you can start seeing the steps to make it happen, not just this goal, that carrot that's out there that you're always chasing. Match the small actions to that identity. That identity is going to give your habits a home. How do we make that happen? 4-step system. Step number one, pick one area in your life that you want to change, not all of them. What one area that if you had a 10% upgrade would change how you feel every day? It's not that you're not going to be able to add other goals, but if you start with everything all at once and you're chasing 10 goals, that's going to drain your willpower and your focus. You're not going to feel like you're making progress anywhere. Start with one, build the momentum, and then you can always add more goals. Step number two, shrink the goal until it feels a little silly. Take those big goals and shrink them down. If the habit feels like a huge effort, shrink it again. Your ego is going to hate this because your ego is the part that says, I have this big shiny goal. This is what I'm working towards. But when you break it down to the silly steps, your future self is going to thank you because your future self is going to be able to do those things on a hard day. So instead of go to the gym 5 times a week, it's just walk outside for 5 minutes. That's doable, even on your worst day. That's what you're looking for. Make it as simple as possible. Step number 3, attach it to something you already do. We've already talked about habit stacking and using anchors to build new habits. This works because you're not relying on motivation. You're stacking habits on top of routines you already have. So find your anchors, find your current habits, and then tack something small onto it. After I brush my teeth, I do 10 squats. After I sit at my desk, I open my planner and write my top 3 tasks. After I make my morning coffee, I read 1 page of a book. Something that you do every single day that you don't have to think about, then tack something small onto it. And step number 4, track tiny wins, not streaks. Missing a day is normal. It's going to happen. Your goal here is that you're going to track showing up. It could be something simple, a little check mark in your calendar, maybe a list in your notes app of your daily wins. You want to track, did I show up? Not was it perfect? Our rule is going to be never miss twice if you can help it. You can't even say, I'm never going to miss twice, because what happens if you get sick? You're in your bed for 4 days straight, and then you're going to wake up and you're going to finally start feeling better, and you're going to look at the 4 days that you missed. Most of you are going to be like, okay, well, that's shot. I can't do it. Because you lied to yourself and saying this only works if I do it every single day. If you miss a day, you come back the next day with that tiny version, that tiny step that you can accomplish. You try not to make it 2 days, but sometimes life is gonna life. And you're going to be laying in bed trying to keep anything down in your body, and keeping up on that habit isn't going to happen. You don't beat yourself up for that. You say, okay, I'm going to get back into it. What's that tiniest step I can take to rebuild my habit? So how do you deal with those slip ups? Because they're going to happen. So step one is to notice without drama. You just recognize that you didn't do it. I stopped doing my habit this week. It's just information. It's not proof that you're broken. It's not proof that you can't do things, you can't stick with things. It is just data. So then step number 2 is asking one calm question. That calm question is not, what the fuck is wrong with me? The question is, what got in the way? Was it time, energy, stress, your schedule? Was it something else? Something got in your way. What was it? And then step 3, adjust without shame. Shrink the habit again. You couldn't do it. It was probably still too big. Shrink it again. Make it silly small. And treat it like an experiment, not a test. You have to reframe the story you tell yourself. Instead of, I always quit, I can't follow through, try, I'm someone who restarts. Instead of, I have no discipline, try, I'm learning to build systems that fit me. The story you repeat becomes part of your identity. So you want to choose what that story is going to be. And so before we end today, I want to give you a 10-minute challenge. If you're in for this anti-resolution revolution, type I'm into the comments, because that will be you making a small promise to yourself in public. I'm not coming to hunt you down. I'm not going to make you check in with me. It's just you putting it out there. And that tiny bit of accountability can help you more than you expect. So what is the challenge? Take 10 minutes. 10 minutes today to create what your new habits are going to be. Minute 1 to 2, you're going to pick which area of your life you want to focus on. What area would benefit you the most if you had that 10% increase of anything. Minutes 3 to 5, you're going to write your big dramatic goal, whatever would have been that resolution, and you're going to shrink it at least 2 times. For some of you, you might have to shrink it 4 times. Remember, you want it silly small. Minutes 6 to 8, decide when it happens and what habit or anchor you're going to attach it to. So when are you going to do this thing? Is it going to be first thing in the morning? Is it going to be right before bed? Is it going to be on your lunch break? Is it going to be when you're sitting in the car in the, school pickup line? What is it? When is it going to happen? What are you attaching it to? And then your last minute or 2, do the first version right away. Whatever that silly small step is, do it now, today. Start it today. You don't have to wait for any magical date. You start it today. Thank you so much for being here. I want to point out that resolutions aren't bad. I'm not saying they're bad because you want change. They're harmful because they set you up to make you feel like a failure every single year. You don't need a new year or a new planner or a perfect morning routine to start. You need one tiny habit, one small promise that fits the person you are right now. If this anti-resolution idea hit home for you, tap like so more people can find it, and subscribe if you want more real talk about habits, mindset, and executive functioning.